The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Monday in the Riv, and let's fly off with our Admiral COVID.
The COVID numbers are from Saturday because of the holiday. The state did not provide numbers for yesterday. So from Saturday, the numbers are 605,055 total cases, 2,263 new cases, 16,938 total deaths, 30 new deaths, and Bristol County had 60,549 cases.
Well, yeah. Well, we have our numbers, and then we have the COVID contradictory information coming out all the time. I heard a new one. I don't know if you heard it. I just heard it actually last night. Someone said he heard a doctor saying that people who had COVID and had lingering symptoms, they call them long haulers, that they had some of those people, those symptoms disappeared after they got their COVID shots. Apparently, the little boost in their system that the shot gave them got rid of some of those long-term symptoms. Not all, but some. Then other people have said you shouldn't get the shot if you had COVID. So, as usual, we're getting all kinds of contradictory information, and it depends on the individual, I guess. So, yeah, that's what I heard yesterday, it's the first thing I've heard about that one, about the long haul. I've heard about the people keeping symptoms.
I've actually heard that same story. There's been no studies done on it, though, so that's one of the issues. But many people have said that when they had the continuing symptoms, because a lot of people, for some reason, have these continuing symptoms, that if they got the vaccine, it felt like or appeared that the symptoms were alleviated. So it's an interesting thing, to say the least. So
yeah, and it's almost as interesting as our government, right? On all levels. But Fall River is now going to mimic the federal government. We know how our Congress people don't care about the pandemic because they do whatever the hell they want. Plus, they never miss a paycheck. And they're going to now impose gas taxes and all kinds of punitive taxes to raise money while they blow money, give themselves pay raises, and they're going to fly around in their jets. Let's face it. The ultimate goal of this is to tax you out of using gasoline and other things because they want their Green New Deal. So they're going to make it too expensive for you to drive. And, the hell with the poor guy that has to go to work and hasn't had a pay raise or maybe even a job through the pandemic. So Fall River does it again. I think a little birdie told me that our superintendent of schools, that bastion of moral superiority, the guy who's going to cost us God knows how much in lawsuits and has violated, I'm going to say it again for the millionth time, to all the city councilors and to the mayor and to the school committee, who violated the city of Fall River's sexual harassment policy. It's not a school policy, it's a city policy and applies to all city employees, including. So don't say you don't have an excuse to boot them. But what did they do? I love it. This is beautiful. They're giving them a pay raise.
Only in Fall River.
They're giving them a pay raise, everybody. I think it's time to start a petition to say we're against it and let's boot those committeemen that have been protecting him for nearly a year now, and now we're going to give him a pay raise. Fall River has now again become the laughing stock of the state.
As usual.
We talk a good game and we're going to make Pleasant Street, but we're the number one in crime, number one in everything negative. And now we're going to give a guy who got booted out of every city and town he worked in, basically, went out there with a vapor trail coming out of his butt. We not only protected him after he's being sued up the wazoo, they're going to give him a pay raise while they're giving everybody else a pay raise too, by the way. And just like the federal government, your rate, your sewer and water is going to go up. Your 2.5 is going to go up. They're going to bring in a debt override. They're going to tax you into oblivion. You're going to be broke and living in a cardboard box. But all these people that make enough money and can give themselves pay raises and never miss a check, they don't care. They don't care because they're going to get their automatic cost of living raise. They're going to get their automatic. They're going to get a pay raise. They're going to get it when nobody else is getting it. So the hell with it. Who cares? Let them eat cake, as they said during the French Revolution. They're starving. Let them eat cake. So go out and look for some pound cake. That may be your last meal before you go into.
I prefer chocolate.
I just yeah, me too. You know that. You know, chocolate. I'm a chocoholic. I don't eat any other flavor basically but chocolate, ice cream and stuff. But some chocolate variation of chocolate. But
chocolate and cherry.
Spumoni is one of the only time I really deviate. I love Spumoni because it's got chocolate and it's got cherry ice cream and it's got pistachio, which is I can handle that. But I love Spumoni but again, I mean a total disregard for the average person in Fall River. Just a total disregard. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that these people are making peanuts. They're giving people pay raises almost the size of the average per capita income. We're getting people that are getting 50% of the per capita income for a pay raise. They're gonna take the ceilings off all of them. Don't worry, Mayor Coogan's gonna take care of his friends. We're gonna remove everything, and we're gonna use that guise that we gotta pay them like they get paid in Newton. We got to pay them like they get paid because we're going to draw the best of the best. Yeah, we got the best superintendent, the guy to get thrown out of 3 or 4 communities. We had an ice house guard. We got all kinds of, we've had all kinds at the top of the shelf. We had Cranberry Coat. Remember him?
Yep, I do.
Yeah, we got him too. He was another one. And they just keep raising the salaries and putting more of their friends and politically connected people in, while you're trying to scratch 2 nickels together to pay your rent. Shame on the government, but more so, shame on the voters. We have an election coming up in November. You better start booting these people out because just like the federal government will tax you until you can't afford to drive your car because they don't want you to. But John Kerry will be driving around in his airplane, and they'll all be jet setting over to Cabo like they always do because they never ever don't get a pay raise. They never ever don't make sure they get a stipend to cover their gas taxes. They'll be driving around in gas guzzlers if they want, driving around in their private airplanes while you can't afford to fly anymore because it'll be so expensive because of the price of fuel that nobody will fly anymore. You might be able to rent the tow line and they can tow you behind the aircraft as they're flying. So that'll be about the closest you can come from getting on an airplane. So, but this is just it really disturbs me when I look at this stuff. I look at the city council agenda. I'm looking at stuff, the pay raises across the board. Never tighten the belt. Companies freeze pay increases for everybody during hard times. They got to try to tighten their belt. They got to try to survive until times get good. And listen, nobody likes pay raises more than me. But the philosophy always was, when times are good, everyone should prosper. When times are bad, everybody's got to bite the bullet. But that's long gone. I mean, I remember how many times in the old days we had to take 0 for a pay raise because the city wasn't in financial condition to give a pay raise out. Because then politicians cared about getting chucked out of office. And I knew when they had money because I beat them twice in the JLMC, and we got a contract because we knew they had the money. They were lying. But there were other times when I knew they didn't have the money, and if we went to arbitration, we couldn't get it because the ability to pay is the first consideration when you go to arbitration on a contract. This city doesn't have the ability to pay anything. If all their bills came due, we would be in receivership. I mean, and we've elevated the bond, and nobody cares. Oh yeah, we're going to go to 20 million. Well, we're going to start something on that too. We may file a taxpayer complaint on that one. Who the hell are you to write yourself a blank check for 10 million bucks? We're going to go from 10 to 20. All this, they just never stop. Pay attention, everybody. Look at the council meeting. Look at the budget hearings. See, show me somewhere where they tighten their belt just once. And I know that Council President Ponte came out with these things, how to apply money to help the taxpayer, and that's a good start. But the fact is, it's like saying, well, we're not gonna have steak every night, and you know we got a loan, so we'll apply that to give you some temporary relief. But therein lies the problem. It's temporary. We got that money, and they're going to use it to help. But now there has to be a long-term solution, and that long-term solution is controlling spending. As we talked about on the last show, Jordan, and you mentioned it, that Jordan, Sylvia, and we disagree on a lot, but we agree on a lot too. He's a small government guy. He's a guy that understands that we can't continue to spend. So, like I said, we have to get a government that understands that. We have to have a council that truly is going to watch for the taxpayer. And just using some free money we got from the feds and diverting some money for a temporary fix is not the answer. The answer is we have to streamline our government. We have to get rid of these jobs, these six-figure jobs that are duplications. And we've got to, frankly, go back to a long time ago when they had terms like a lean government, no-frills government. We have certain services we have to give. The rest are optional.
Sounds good to me. Where can I find that place? You have any idea? Is there any place like that in Massachusetts?
You're frozen.
I said, is there any place like that in Massachusetts? it's
tighten their belt? Yeah, actually. And ironically enough, one of the places that looks over their money very carefully is one of the richest communities. Our favorite, Newton. You've seen a Newton budget.
Yes, I have.
When Newton pulls in a budget, every department has to say what they're going to do for that year in that budget. And if they go back in front of the council like they do every year in this city, a week after they voted on a budget and say, I need more money for stuff that should have been in the budget, they get it. But in Newton, you don't get it.
That's our city council.
You get the budget, and if you didn't put it in, you don't get it. Because unless it was an unexpected emergency, you do not get that. Go online, look at the Newton budget. You'll see each department gives a synopsis of what they're going to do. And if they go back in front of the council before you know what the council says? Nah. You didn't put this in your budget.
Exactly. And that's the way it should be.
So they lose their job.
But that's the way it should be.
But heaven forbid.
And our council doesn't do that. They don't hold them accountable. Okay? They just don't hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And this is why your money gets pissed away. Because they don't hold them accountable. Oh, well, we need this truck. Oh, we need this land. Oh, we need this. We need this. We need that. We need this. We need that. We need to give her a pay raise. Otherwise, we'll lose her. Lose her. Get rid of her. You know, if they don't get a pay raise, they're going to quit. Let them quit. At least if they quit, we don't got to pay them unemployment. It's time to take a hard stand on spending. And it's something that this mayor does not want to do. This mayor loves to spend money, but he doesn't love to spend it to benefit the taxpayer. That CARES Act money last year could have been used to offset the cost of the water bill. Did they use it? No. Have they used it yet? No. It's still sitting in an account somewhere. They've used some of it, but they haven't used all of it. Now we've got the American Recovery Act money, okay, for infrastructure. Take some of that $70 million that you're getting, Mr. Mayor, and put it towards the CSO project so the water rates don't have to be increased again. That's an infrastructure issue that Fall River needs a lot of work on. We've needed work on that for years, and it's the thing that keeps draining us consistently. And for the sewer department to turn around and say, oh, well, we need to raise the rainwater tax, another $1. You don't think it's a lot, but it's over $200 a year that you pay for water you can't control. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money because
especially to the average person.
Right, because the city can't make its budget because they can't control their budget. The water department is worse. Their budget last year was $200,000. This year it's $200,000. It's the same, but you need a rate increase. At least the numbers I was looking at and that were in the city council agenda, it made no sense. I mean, I know their budget's more than $200,000, but what's on those lists shows $200,000. If they're the same, why do you need a rate increase? And don't give me the bull that, oh, it's only a couple of pennies. It'll equal $20 by the end of the year in the average household. No, the average household in this city is now a single-family home. It's a triple-decker. It's a 6-family home. Add all of those together. My water bill doubled. After the rate increases, my water bill doubled. That wasn't $20. That wasn't $20. That was $300. So where is this average increase coming in? I've never had an average increase. You ask anyone in Fall River, they'll say they never had the average increase. The average increase. There is no such thing. That's a number they create to get it through the city council. And the city council's so stupid they buy it every time. Every single time. Every single time I hear a city council say, well, we got to approve this rate, I know they're stupid. They just don't care. They just don't care about the people anymore.
Well, I don't know if I don't know that they may be as stupid as a fox, because this is the con they always run. It's just like the 11th hour con. We heard about it with the school department. They sat on the Watson school for 11 months before they did anything on it. And now it's an emergency in front of the council. So the school committee and the school department sits on a project for almost a year. And then when it gets to the city council, we have to do it. Otherwise, the world is going to end. It's like Chicken Little. The sky is always falling in the city council chamber. Everything they do. And how many times have you said it? And how many times have I said it on this show? If they do that to the council again, the council should tell them, you come in at the 11th hour with something that you had plenty of time to prepare and bring before this council, it's not going to get done.
Exactly.
That's the way it is. You find the money in your budget. That's it. Case closed, done. And this crap of average this and average that, and it's only a few pennies. Well, I hate to tell you this, Mr. Mayor and City Council. As you once said, Mr. Mayor, and I'm looking for nickels and dimes. Well, there are people in Fall River looking for pennies. We have a high percentage of elderly people who are hanging on to their homes, and they're retired and on a fixed income. And these pennies mean a lot to them. This average, quote unquote, average, it's going to be that never becomes a real average. Because as I said on the last show, it's never 2.5. We did the numbers when we were talking about the school. It's always more than 2.5. Look at your last year's tax bill. Look at this year's, and see if it's 2.5. Take 2.5. Take what you paid last year. Multiply it by 2.5% and see if that's what your bill went up. It's not. It's more, because it's based on, it's 2.5 of the new base. The new base includes TIFs, includes all kinds of crap that wasn't in there. The reassessment of your house, a whole bunch of other things. If you look at historically, it's always more than 2.5% of what you paid last year. And people in this city just can't. I don't know. Well, I do know what world they live in. It's like the DMZ, the demilitarized zone. They can't cross from the north end into the rest of the city. Take a walk around the Flint. Take a walk up and down Choate Street, Botwell Street. Look at those 3-deckers. Look at the people that are walking in and out of those 3-deckers with a bag of grocery or two. Walk up to them and ask them how much they make, how many pay raises they got over the pandemic. Take a walk around the South End. Take a walk around Corky Road. Instead of cutting ribbons around the North End, I mean, you couldn't even build a school in the South End. I know that was proposed, having 2 schools like Cranston East and Cranston West. You don't care if you ship the peons from the Tiverton line all the way to the North End, because, you know, all the Richies in the North End, they have to have their conveniences. The school will be in their end. And we will have a field like Newton. Even though we got to drive Chevys, you got to get Cadillacs and Ferraris. And look, if you the voter living in those 3-deckers, trying to figure out how you're going to pay already almost, 60, 70 cents gas has gone up to get back and forth to work, and you know, so not in your budget. A fact that it drains your money insidiously. If you're okay with that, well, fine. Keep them in. But if not, consider candidates who are running on keeping the damn government small, tightening our belt, having some relief for the taxpayer. I'm not saying we shouldn't pay taxes, although I actually agree that we shouldn't pay taxes because, you know, we're not paying enough, just like on the federal government. They're going to raise the taxes. And they're going to say, well, you got to make over $400,000. Well, you raise it for major corporations and people that are making millions of dollars. What do? They pass that off to the consumers. They pass that off. So you'll pay for it at the supermarket. You'll pay for it somewhere. When they raise the gas taxes on them trucking their stuff, they're going to factor that into the price. So ultimately, you're going to pay more for everything. You're going to pay more for your gas, more for your food, more for everything, and it's going to be a hidden tax, just like we see all the time in Fall River, because the reason that the stormwater fee goes up every year is because fundamentally we never stop spending. So if you enjoy this kind of life and you think somebody really, next time somebody's running for council now, you'll start seeing them coming out of the woodwork or getting into the campaign season, ask them, when the hell are you ever going to tighten your belt? When are you ever going to tell whoever the mayor is? Don't bring crap down here at the 11th hour and tell me that if we don't do something, the sky's going to fall. Because bring it down here, you know, have a plan like they do in your favorite. We want to have fields like Newton. Do it like Newton. Have a plan for the year. Tell me a year in advance what you're going to do. And then we can talk about it. And we can figure out how we're going to fund it without killing the taxpayer. Don't tell me like we did with Dominion, like we did with everything. And I'll never forget Dominion because, you know, we can't find it. You found it in 9 seconds on your phone. I said, we were reading a letter they said they couldn't find in like 9 seconds. So, You know, what that proves is they're full of BS. That's what it proves.
No question about it. And as you said, I found it in 9 seconds, and anyone could have done it.
Yeah,
including the corporate counsel at that time. So
except the legal department.
Except the legal department, yes. Who had the letter mailed directly to them.
Right.
Oh, God.
And who, by the way, has a nice budget and good salaries, and they litigate virtually nothing.
Right.
They farm everything out, and we get another bill.
Right. Right. And that's the problem. You know, and those that have, I mean, let's be real. Even I took the city to an arbitration, for the lack of a better expression. I had no attorney. It was me, just me. The city had 3 attorneys, and guess who walked away with the verdict? Hello,
you.
Yep, and I'm not an attorney. Granted, it was a concession on their part, but nonetheless, it was because it was.
We could tell stories all day about their attorneys. Right?
It's sad.
I remember we went to Boston on an arbitration, and the attorney for the city spent 20 minutes arguing against the proposal, and at the end, our lawyer said, "Well, we agree with them because it's their proposal." So this is what you're paying for, and that actually happened, and I can prove it.
It's
welcome to the real world.
Yeah, it's a shame that this is what happens. So here's what we have to look forward to. Tomorrow is City Council night. Once again, the City Council is going to meet and tell us how much money we have to pay the City of Fall River for water and sewer. Once again. And the rates are going up once again. I called the city councilor about it. They hadn't reviewed their agenda yet. But as soon as I said that, they said, "What is going on?" When the city council doesn't know what's going on, there's a problem. And this guy, Ferlin, who's taken over the water department since the last clown left, okay, isn't any better. He just isn't any better. Because he was trained by the last guy. Remember, spend. That's all we do is spend. Because remember, the water and sewer are enterprise funds. They have to be self-sufficient. So the more they spend, the more they file for. The more they claim. The more they want.
And didn't they hire the last guy? Didn't they hire the last guy as a consultant?
Yes, they did. They brought him back. Because they don't have the license.
There you go.
And what's the excuse? I'll put money on this right now. I'll put $100 on this right now. That what's going to come out of his mouth tomorrow is, if I don't get this raise, I'm going to have to lay somebody off. And if I lay somebody off, the state's going to come down and take over water and sewer operations. Because he says it every year. They say it every year. They say it every year.
Well, let him come down. Let him come down. Well, they didn't have any problem throwing a DPW out in the street from picking up our trash.
That's right.
So what the hell? If you guys can't do your job, well, you lose it. And by the way, what they should tell them is, if they come down and take it over, you're gone, because we don't need you anymore. Apparently.
Exactly. And this is the problem. And the city council buys it. They buy it like it's gospel, and it's not. It's not. Just like the average increase is not true. Okay, people have a hard enough time paying their bills. Let's not make it any harder. Mr. Mayor, use the CARES Act money, use the Recovery Act money to help the people of Fall River. Well, we're out of time. As usual, we never have enough time. We never have enough time. But I want to thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Watch the city council meeting tomorrow. Hold your city councilors accountable. Let them know where you stand. Be safe. Be angry, wear a mask, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.